28th Gene Key, Embracing the Dark Side. Programming Partner, 27th Gene Key, Codon Ring, the Ring of Illusion, 2832. Physiology, kidneys. Amino acid, asparaginic acid. The 28th Shadow, purposelessness. The egregore of fear. The theme of purpose is a notion that lies central to this entire work on the 64 gene keys. In following your true purpose, you unlock the manifesting power of your specific gifts. However, there are forces in the world that directly challenge your ability to find your purpose, much less follow it. The 28th Shadow of purposelessness represents your potential nemesis in this regard, because it can ensure that you either never find your purpose or you never follow it through. This shadow cuts to the core of the deepest of all human fears, the fear of death. All fears can be reduced to this one fear. It is the fear of being extinguished, the prime emanation of human fear. Humans will do all manner of things to escape it. We tend to have one of two main patterns that emerge from this 28th shadow. We either deny death altogether until it finally catches up with us, or we allow it to consume us, and in so doing we live in constant reaction to our fear. Our unconscious symbols of the dark side of human nature have arisen out of this gene key. As such, this gene key contains some of the darkest coding in the whole genetic matrix. All the demonic archetypes from around the world emerge as a direct personification of the unconscious fear of death that lies within every human being. Using the word darkest need not necessarily be construed as negative. The 28th Shadow simply sets us humans up in a falsely constructed reality, peopled by good forces and by evil forces. The 28th Shadow is a major aspect of the genetic survival equipment that has led to the success of the human species. This shadow, with its fear of death, has sharpened our individual instincts for millennia, and it has led us out of the darker ages of our prehistory into the current age, in which individual survival is more ensured than ever before. The fact of death leads directly to the question of the purpose of an individual's life. The prime purpose at a physical level is to maintain your health for as long as possible, but there is another core purpose built into us: to evolve. For a human being, evolution means creative uniqueness. We are each born with a creative purpose that no other human being carries. If you are to release your true creativity into the world, you must meet your own dark side. In other words, you must at some point face your deepest fear of death. The fact of your death actually gives an edge to your life, putting you under pressure to find your life purpose and to take the risk of following your individual dreams. The amount of life you feel is directly proportionate to your willingness to face the fears that threaten your dreams. Actually, fear never threatens your dreams, only your mind sees it that way. If you are under the spell of your mind, as most people are, then you will fail to see the true nature of your fear because of your attempts to avoid it. As all our great myths testify, we must pass into the underworld in order to be reborn into the light. We must face our unconscious fears in the outside world. The most common way of avoiding your fear of death is to adopt a fixed mental philosophy and then live within that philosophy rather than living with your fear. These philosophies are our religions, beliefs, sciences, and systems. Anything that becomes dogma for you and numbs your fear. The human mind does not like surprises. To live in the continual acceptance of death means to live with the continual threat of the unexpected. The human mind would have you believe that your life's purpose lies in the future rather than here and now, So you keep postponing your life until you meet all your fears face to face at the end. You must look deeply into your fears now in order to find your purpose, because your purpose actually lies within your fears. This is why, in the great mystical traditions, it is said that you must die before you can live. The theme of purposelessness is really a contemporary theme that has become more and more pronounced as humanity has learned to master the material world. Survival gives you a powerful purpose. In the West, we no longer fear our survival because we have created a society that supports everyone at a collective level. Almost no one in a wealthy, advanced country will die of starvation. Because of this, our fear has shifted to the fear of purposelessness. Now, instead of being afraid to die, people are more afraid to live. The fear of not finding your purpose is still really a dressed-up fear of death. The majority of people do not even want to think about whether they are fulfilling their true purpose or not, because to do so is to look right into their deepest fears. The majority compromise and fall in line with the collective belief that they are trapped by the system, by money, by responsibilities, by taxes. In this regard, it is interesting to ponder the 27th shadow of selfishness, the programming partner to this 28th shadow. People are afraid to appear selfish and follow their dreams, even though those dreams, if they are true dreams, will be of far greater service to the planet than anything else they do. The 28th shadow represents a deep attunement to the acoustic field and is rooted in frequency and sound. In this shadow, every fear can be perceived as a vibration. These vibrations have been personified by many cultures as demons or entities with a separate existence from their host. This very interesting phenomenon forms the basis of many systems that explore the darker, unconscious side of human nature, from shamanism to psychoanalysis. The shaman operates in the world of vibration, and he or she identifies fear patterns as entities, which must be either dislodged from your inner being or transmuted. This is the foundation of true shamanic practice. Psychoanalysis, on the other hand, examines your mental and emotional world and names these same fear patterns neuroses. Other systems give other names to these fear frequencies. The true shaman or therapist also knows that he or she can never take away another person's fears. He or she can only help the person identify those fears so that they can be accepted. Wholeness comes about as all your deepest fears are embraced. Thus it is said that the only way to kill a demon is to absorb it into the light, inside yourself. All your inner demons emanate from a single source, an egregore or collectivity of all your fears rolled into one. This is the archdemon, the Antichrist, or the doppelganger within each of us. The 28th shadow truly represents everything within your psyche that you do not wish to accept, right down to your core fear of non-existence. Only as you reclaim each of these dark aspects of your inner being can you begin to assemble and manifest the true purpose of your life. This is the magic and true purpose of the 28th shadow. Repressive nature, hollow. When you repress the darker sides of your nature, your life appears hollow and devoid of real juice. To turn away from your fears is to live a lackluster existence with no deeply felt sense of purpose. Your life may be glamorous and successful or dull and mundane, but it has no center. Such people often try hard to appear happy and easygoing, even to themselves, but to anyone who knows their own dark side, they hide nothing. The deeper you go into your fears, the more you feel the authenticity of others. Those who will not face their own demons live a half-life, unaware of how transparent they are. These people often pretend to be happy or evolved, but they lack the depth and deep understanding of those who have dared to look into the deep, dark mirrors of their souls. Reactive nature, gambling. The reactive side of this 28th shadow is about risk-taking. These people react to the fear that they feel by transforming their fear into activity. This results in rash and impetuous acts that temporarily cloak the fear. Such people quickly become addicted to this risk-taking pattern and live their lives at the other extreme, at such a fast and unpredictable pace that they cannot stop and examine the fear that is driving them. These people will try anything and everything to give them a sense of purpose, but they cannot stop moving. Their most terrifying space is their own inner silence and stillness. The 28th gift, totality. All of life's a stage. The gift of totality is a wonderful gift to have, and it belongs to anyone who really knows how to trust in life. Totality means to live alongside fear, to live with the unexpected, and to stay open to continual change whilst remaining committed. Totality is the balance between the extremes of the 28th shadow, one extreme that cannot change and the other that cannot commit. The gift of totality means to embrace the whole of your nature and the whole of life, the pleasure and the pain. To be total in the sense of this gift also means to live without allowing your mind to dictate your life. This is life lived for the moment, in the full knowledge that life purpose can only be found in the present moment rather than in the distant future. To have the gift of totality is to follow a mythic path. As you steadily embrace the various challenges that life brings, you gather and compound the various aspects of your psyche until you reach what Jung called the state of individuation. The shaman might call this same process the retrieval or incarnation of your full soul. The state of totality appears to be a continual state of taking risks, not the unfounded risks of the 28th shadow, but the risk of building something that you cannot really see until it is complete. What you are building, of course, is the path of your true destiny. This is a path of deep trust in which the individual strikes out on their path, surrendering their whole being into the mystery of life and its hidden rhythms. To be total is to be alive in every sense. It is to be acoustically alert to the vitality of every moment as it comes. In the resonant vessel of each moment, fear cannot survive, and thus you experience a deepening calm and quietness growing naturally within. When you meet life through the gift of totality, you meet life as a game to be played or a stage on which to act. This is life lived as a romance that includes both comedy and tragedy. There is a deep sense of thrill that comes as you progressively face your inner demons. Your demons, as we have learned, are really your angels in disguise. Every situation in your life is devised as a form of initiation that allows you either to remain as you are or to evolve. At the individual level, this gift gives you a profound sense of freedom, even when external forces appear to obstruct, challenge, or entrap you. On the inner planes, totality gives itself to every situation, allowing the game to play itself out with no expectation, but with absolute conviction. When lived in this intuitive way, life shows you that it has an underlying purpose in everything that it brings you. You simply have to align yourself to the dramatic plot line as it unwinds before you. People aligned with the 28th gift have the wonderful knack of handling adversity lightly. The more deeply they accept each feeling of fear that comes, the lighter they grow and the more love they feel towards life. As you begin to feel life's purpose moving like a wave beneath you, you will feel the programming partner of this gene key, the 27th gift of altruism, become more influential. As your own issues begin to subside into the background, your life energy begins to direct itself towards others. One of the great mysteries of existence is that the only true sense of purpose in life comes from the impulse to serve something greater than oneself. These are people whose acts and deeds immortalize them because their lives burn so brightly with the fire of their deep sense of purpose. In overcoming the fear of death, you begin to realize that one of the only things in life that lasts forever is the human spirit itself. This realization about the eternal nature of the human spirit paves the way for the ultimate flowering of human consciousness, the siddhi of immortality. The 28th gene key and the 32nd gene key make up the binary genetic codon group known as the ring of illusion. These two gene keys both share a common theme of fear connected to death. Whilst the 28th shadow fears death itself, the 32nd shadow fears dying unfulfilled. The ring of illusion causes human beings to postpone their lives, seeking a sense of purpose in the future. Your thinking is based upon fulfillment then rather than now. The gift within this codon, however, is that the illusion can easily be broken through a simple understanding. True purpose is found in giving yourself 100% to every moment, rather than having to do with any kind of achievement. When your fulfillment comes from simply being alive in the thrill of the role life is bringing you in the moment, only then are you total. Whatever role you are playing in the game of life, lover, villain, master, disciple, or seeker, as long as your commitment is total, you will discover a mysterious detachment running beneath the role itself, and this detachment is the reward for your courageous totality. The 28th siddhi, immortality, the true nature of the beast. Since the beginning of time, humanity has wondered about the possibilities of immortality. Alchemists have long sought the precious elixir vitae, the spiritual essence that when drunk will restore eternal youth. Modern medicine has in its turn extended the human lifespan and will probably continue to do so. With the promise of the new genetic science, many scientists are already talking about being able to expand human life indefinitely. When we think of immortality, we also think in terms of the soul. Certainly the dream of the great world religions is that our soul will survive death and live on in an eternal dimension or heaven realm. The fear built into the lower frequencies of the 28th gene key also gives rise to the opposite side of this duality, the notion of hell and eternal damnation in the underworld. The 28th siddhi has very little to do with such things, which are largely projections of the lower frequencies of this gene key and its shadow. It is true, however, that the human genetic matrix does contain the seed of physical immortality, although our current biophysical vehicle will not properly support this transformation. It might even be possible to alter our genetics to make this current vehicle immortal, but the consequences would not be pleasant. To create a new body out of the fear of the 28th shadow means that the indwelling awareness will not have evolved naturally to suit such a body. Such a being would be a genetic freak, and even though the body might never die, the awareness within could not cope with such a concept, remaining rooted in the fear of death. Just because a body can genetically go on living doesn't eliminate the possibility of death from other causes. Instead of taking away the fear of death, such a circumstance would more than likely increase the fear of death to obsessive proportions. Without the grounding of the acceptance of your dark side, the results of such an occurrence would very likely be catastrophic. When the human mind imagines the concept of immortality, it does so from within its own limitations. The mind can only conceptualize something within time, so it sees immortality as time that simply stretches into the future forever. This is why the mind cannot really grasp what immortality means. True immortality is actually the cessation of time altogether. This is the only way to escape death, to live so entirely within the present moment that death cannot exist. This is why the gift of totality must eventually lead to such a state. Whereas totality means to live life to the utmost, immortality means to die into the everlasting moment. To do this, your sense of identity and separateness must first die, leaving only life in its place. Once there is no localized center of awareness, there is no death, because there is nothing to die. Only consciousness remains, moving from one form to another endlessly. In Christian mythology, the embodiment of fear is expressed through the Antichrist, Lucifer, the embodiment of evil. There are some curious secrets hiding within this myth. The destiny of Lucifer at a mythic level is actually to become one with the Godhead. Lucifer was originally the favorite and strongest of God's angels. In mythology, the strongest is always chosen to fall and forget his true nature. This is the higher mythic meaning behind betrayal. This wonderful anthropomorphism contains the great secret of the meaning of evil and the dark side itself. Evil is simply everything about life that has not yet been accepted and embraced. The only misinterpretation of the old legends is seen in the battles between good and evil, in which good triumphs. The ancient symbols and images of dragons being killed is a projection from the 28th shadow. In the end, the archangel Michael, who represents good, must embrace Lucifer in his arms rather than killing him. Only in this way can he fulfill the myth by transmuting Lucifer's true essence into a force even higher than himself, thus revealing Lucifer as God himself. That is how the Christian myth should really read. Many other more ancient myths from other cultures also describe the very same dynamic. The city of immortality requires that the individual surrender him or herself into his own deepest fears, and in dying, he or she is reborn as pure consciousness. Such a being realizes their true purpose as the purpose of life itself, to live in the immortal truth of its own nature, beyond time and form. When a being attains this state, through the 28th siddhi, they take on a particular mythology. Their specific gift is to highlight the fears of others wherever they go. This is simply an aspect of their awakening, operating through their genetics. Thus they are said to have the gift of casting out demons, because this is precisely what their aura does. Through its grace, it highlights the darker, unaccepted aspects of one's nature and absorbs them into its deathless state of consciousness. As all siddhic states are really one and the same state, this is an aspect common to them all, but it carries specific mythological power in the 28th siddhi's destiny. Finally, a few words about the future role of the 28th siddhi. As was stated earlier, this siddhi contains the seed of the manifestation of immortality in form. After all the siddhis have dawned in humanity and our collective body has begun to transmute into its future form, the 60th siddhi will flower, and the laws that hold our world together will dissolve. At that time, elements of our future vehicle will coalesce and begin to form another kind of vehicle to house the higher consciousness of humanity. In this vehicle, the 28th siddhi will finally come to fruition, and in doing so, it will synthesize the animal soul of Gaia with the human soul, thus making an immortal body. Herein lies the secret behind all the codes within our mythologies, where man and beast are combined as one. The animal kingdoms of our planet constitute an awareness that already operates in the immortal field, and whose sacrifice suggests an evolution even higher than our own. At a physical level, man must absorb his entire animal nature into himself in order for its true purpose to be shown. Only then will we see for the first time the true nature of the beast.